From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Daniels Roofing, licensed, bonded, insured roofing contractor. 45 years of generational expertise, offering a variety of roofing systems in the North State. Composition shingles, metal, tile, fire-safe wood shingles, and spray foam roofing systems. An energy-saving cool roof, perfect for commercial flat roofs and mobile homes. With other companies, you may get a foreman or a salesman. But with Daniels Roofing, you get Daniel. Call today for your free estimate. Daniels Roofing, 3 generations working hard to protect your home and business.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Meteorologist Mike Krueger. Thank you so much for joining me here for this Thursday morning update. Let's start with our weather headlines because, the gusty winds, that's been the main story as we went through the afternoon yesterday and last night. Pretty gusty winds. Overall, just kind of looking at Northern California in general, it was about 30 to upwards of close to 40 miles per hour in many cases. The coast, the valley saw some of those gusty winds too, some of the higher elevations. Now, there were some mountain ridge tops that did get into that 60 mile per hour range. And believe it or not, the winds will actually be stronger as we go through the day today. Yesterday was just kind of the beginning and last night too. But I do expect that cooler and wetter pattern to kick in today. Some of us did see some of the showers yesterday, but not a lot of us. We're going to notice the cooler temperatures. We're going to notice more rainfall across the board. And we're also going to notice those stronger gusty winds. Now, Saturday is still looking like the best day of seeing a break from the rain, the wind, right? But then we do expect another cool and unsettled weather pattern to kick in after that come Sunday, and most likely through the end of next week. So here's what I have my eyes on for today alone. I do expect, and this is something I kind of briefly touched on yesterday evening, in the potential for flooding, especially to the north and west of the valley. We've got the potential of kind of a steady, light to moderate rainfall through the day in some of those areas, and that could put some strain on some of the creeks and streams, and even mudslides and debris flows could be a bit of a concern. Now, later this evening and tonight, I do expect above 4,000 or 5,000 feet that you may run into some chain requirements, especially east of I-5 is where I think we're going to see the bigger problems here. And again, that's mainly for tonight, though, going into tomorrow. Also, of course, the gusty winds I was telling you about, I'm expecting gusts in the 40 to 50 mile an hour range, including the valley, including the coast and some of the higher elevations, and we could even exceed that 60 mile an hour range for some of the mountain ridge tops. With winds this strong, we can't rule out broken tree branches, downed trees, power outages, the works. So that's what I've got my eyes on. Before we get into all that deeper dive forecast, let's get you through today, taking a look at Krueger's Quickcast here for your Thursday, March 27th. So out the door this morning, we do have a chance for a few showers in parts of the valley. I don't think we're going to see much activity this morning for Modoc County or the Eastern Mountains. That will change, especially for the Eastern Mountains later this morning and afternoon. Otherwise, looking at the showers for Trinity County, the North Coast, and into Siskiyou County as well. Fairly high snow levels, mainly above 4,000 feet. So this is the storm system that we got right here swirling away. We've got these, that just for some reason there's some missing data there. That's why the cold front kind of moved out. But just wanted to show you that we have this colder air wrapping around it, and all of that is just kind of moving right into Northern California. So that cold and unstable air is moving in. And that's going to be kind of that constant source of moisture. But this area of low pressure is pretty strong. And that's why we're seeing those really gusty winds here. And we'll continue to see that through the day today. All of the areas in blue or the lighter shades of blue is where we have a high wind warning or a wind advisory. Is basically through today, tonight, and even into tomorrow morning in some cases. So we look at the winds, and you can see they are going to start to increase going through this morning. Now, this area right here, you're easily in that 50 to 60 mile an hour range, but keep in mind a lot of those are going to be over the mountain ridge tops. In the valley, I think 30 to 40 miles per hour. For the coast, Humboldt County, 30 to maybe 40, maybe upwards of 50 miles per hour for parts of Del Norte County and central Siskiyou County. Could see some gusty winds there. Doesn't change much as we go through the day today, but by tonight, we're showing signs of wind subsiding, but still gusty winds tonight, and even going into tomorrow morning, I do expect to see even better signs of those winds getting weaker. This is what I was talking about with the flash flood risk. This is coming in from the Weather Prediction Center, and this is where we're seeing the better chances for some of that flooding, because I think we're going to see a constant stream of moisture here throughout the day today, and that could bring us that steady light to moderate rainfall and heavy at times with even the potential for thunderstorms. And as I mentioned, that could create some strain on the local creeks and streams, maybe some mudslides and debris flows over the mountain highways. But even some of that runoff, you may start to see, especially later this evening and tonight and tomorrow, the creeks and streams, especially around the Redding area, to possibly swell up. Not necessarily flood, but probably swell up a little bit from some of that runoff. So 8 o'clock this morning, we can see some of the showers. Now the main batch of moisture is still off to our west. Now I do expect as we go through the morning hours that the valley will see a chance for some passing showers. But what I'm noticing here, and I've noticed the last few days, that we're really seeing a bit of a shadowing effect, that the valley isn't getting caught up in a lot of this rainfall. Most of it is expected to be in the foothills and the mountains and along the coast. You can see that here as we go through the day. You see how we're just not seeing much going on in the valley, but surrounding the valley, we do have some of that rain, and including the coast. But one thing to also note, we're not seeing much activity here even for places like Modoc County or even northern Laston County, but we're still seeing that potential for those showers. So the bulk of the rain today, north into northern Shasta County, Siskiyou County, westward into Del Norte, Humboldt County, and Trinity County. Just not a lot of rainfall for the valley overall. And of course, that is going to be the case here going into tonight as well. It may start to fill in a little bit more for the valley later tonight and into early tomorrow morning, but tomorrow, we're not going to be looking at that widespread heavy kind of steady rainfall. It's going to be more in the way of scattered showers by tomorrow. All right, so here's your winter weather advisories, right? We have the areas in purple, western Siskiyou, northern Trinity County through 8 a.m. Friday, and east of the valley from 11 o'clock this morning until 5 p.m. on Friday. I think the main concern here is going to be above 4,000 or 5,000 feet. You're going to start to see some chain requirements. Scott Mountain, for example, and I think a lot of the higher mountain passes east of I-5 will eventually, especially tonight into tomorrow morning, see those chain requirements. As of right now, of course, no new snow over Mount Shasta Ski Park, putting that summit depth at 102. Variable conditions today. However, this can turn over to snow today, and you'll most likely be dealing with that fresh powder later on. And in fact, we look at the amount of rainfall snowfall we're expected to see here through Saturday, looking pretty darn impressive. Over 2 feet of snow, 2 to maybe even close to 4 feet of snow, especially over the higher mountain passes there. Not mountain passes, the higher part of the ski park that is here. And the thing is, that's just through Saturday. And really, most of what we're going to see here is going to be today and tomorrow, Saturday the break, and then more snow for the ski park by the time we get into Sunday and through next week. But there you can see Scott Mountain. But look everywhere else. We're not seeing much snow on those mountain passes by 5 p.m. However, by tonight into tomorrow morning, it's beginning to fill in more here off in the eastern mountains. That's why I do expect to maybe see some chain requirements there. Again, there's Scott Mountain, but Highway 299 West, 36 West, keep an eye on it if you have to travel on Highway 36 West, because there may be some issues later tonight and into tomorrow morning. High surf advisory has been issued here for this morning through Friday morning. Large breaking waves and just a dangerous situation altogether along the coast. Not a good idea to be beachcombing, that's for sure. Temperatures are going to be in the low to mid 60s for your daytime highs today. So yes, it's going to be noticeably cooler out there. I was mentioning yesterday the transition day, because 2 days ago, temperatures in the 80s in the valley, yesterday in the 70s, today in the 60s. So we're seeing this gradual drop, but this is where they're going to pretty much stick for a while here, at least through the weekend. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s, really not too terribly cold. Still mild air today, but some cooler air should begin to move in. That should allow the snow levels to drop a little bit after that as well. Let's take a back here to the valley here. There you can see there's that break I was talking about on Saturday, and then more often on showers here for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But look at the temperatures. We're in the low 60s through Saturday, but dropping even more with some cold air moving in for Sunday through Wednesday in the upper 50s for your daytime highs. For the coast, inland, and for Trinity County, also seeing that break on Saturday. More wet weather off and on, most likely through the end of next week. That's also the case for Siskiyou, Modoc County, the eastern mountains. I would say on average 3,000 to 4,000 feet with those snow levels. They may drop even more by the time we get toward the end of next week, believe it or not. All right, that's a look at your Krueger's Quickcast. Do want to remind you there's a 24-hour streaming channel available on all of the platforms that Weather NorCal offers, including weathernorcal.com, the free Weather NorCal app, on Fire TV, on Roku, and on anywhere YouTube is available. Your computer, your phone, even your smart TV, you can watch the 24-hour streaming channel from the YouTube channel. Just search for Weather NorCal. Subscribe to it while you're at it. And my favorite part about the YouTube app on your TV is that you can on demand watch the latest video forecast, like the one you're watching right now. You can watch it whenever you want. All right, so check it out. All right, so there's the area of low pressure. Again, this is a very strong area of low pressure, and this is what's creating the gusty winds, the cold and unstable air, the kind of that feed of moisture that we're going to be kind of moving on in, giving us that rainfall. But before we get into the rain and snow, let's talk about the winds again. We do have the wind advisories and the high wind warnings here through the day today. And looking at those winds here for today, they're going to be gusty, 30, 40, 50 miles per hour, depending on where you are. Higher gusts over the mountain ridge tops. Talking over 60 miles per hour, very good possibility. But you'll notice the trend for tonight and tomorrow morning. You see how they're dying down? I mean, it's still breezy, still over 20, even close to 30 miles per hour, especially out towards Crescent City. They may ramp up again a little bit, but again, not the same wind event we're seeing today for tomorrow. And then they should start to die down again going into your Friday evening. Now look at Saturday. Saturday, we're starting to see those winds really die down. So this is kind of that break I was talking about. A break from the rain, a break from the cloud cover, and a break from the winds on Saturday too. Now, once again, do want to give you that reminder that we could be looking at the potential for some flooding to the north and west of the valley. Creeks and streams, low-lying areas, mudslides, debris flows are going to be a concern here, but I would anticipate that the better chances of that happening would be later this afternoon and especially this evening. As you can see here, even at 10 o'clock this morning, it's not kind of that steady rainfall just yet, but we are seeing the potential for a shower, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm this morning for parts of the valley. That will most likely be the bulk of any rain that we do see for the valley today, because by noon, we're looking at most of it pretty dry. However, still maybe a few showers out towards Chico and Oroville. Now we're beginning to see more of that steady rainfall to the north and west of the valley, and we're also seeing those upslope winds coming into the mountains east of the valley. That is going to bring us more rainfall and higher elevation snow there. So you see this 3 p.m., we're still seeing that same area where the bulk of the rain is. Look at the valley, fairly dry. Now, keep in mind, through the afternoon, there may be some stray showers there, but overall, it's not going to be all that heavy. Now you can see as we go into 6 p.m., look at this. We're still seeing that main flow of moisture, that steady rainfall to the north and west. Again, this is why I'm concerned about flooding there. You can also see the upslope winds creating the rain and snow to the east of the valley, but look at the valley. Not much in the way of rain. Now, as I mentioned, through the day, through the afternoon, and even into this evening, there will be chances for some passing stray showers, but not to the extent that we're seeing in the higher elevations. Even at 10 o'clock tonight, we're still seeing that steady rainfall. Once again, this is why we're concerned about that flooding. There you can see it fills in a little bit more in the valley, maybe a stray shower, but once again, to the east of the valley, we are seeing some of those heavier showers. Now, look what happens as we go into tomorrow morning. We're not seeing that widespread rainfall anymore. It's turning over to scattered showers at this point. So you can see some of the strong winds, maybe a bit of a convergence line that we could be looking at to the north and east of Redding. Snow is dropping down a little bit lower for Friday morning, so that could create some chain requirements, but you see what's happening? We've got scattered showers, maybe some isolated thunderstorms in the higher elevations. Some of those could make their way down into the valley as well, but you'll notice the valley once again just not getting caught up in a lot of this activity here, which is why the valley won't see a lot of rainfall out of this. But there still is that chance, even for the valley, for some showers, maybe some isolated thunderstorms. And we're seeing snow levels probably somewhere between 3,500 and 4,500 feet at this point. By Saturday morning, still a few leftover showers, as you can see out towards the coast, even midday. But you'll notice the overall trend for all of Northern California is mainly dry conditions through the day on Saturday. So we're finally getting that break on Saturday, a well-deserved break, and really just in time for the weekend if you have those outdoor Saturday plans too. So you can see, once again, see in the valley, not much rain. And that's to be expected because we're not getting much rainfall coming out of this system. Now you can see here in the higher elevations, that's where we're seeing most of the rainfall, especially off to the north and west. This is just through Friday night, folks. That's not including what we're going to see after that. Now you can see the winter weather advisories for Northern Trinity, Western Siskiyou County, and east of the valley. This is the main concern here for chain requirements, especially later tonight and tomorrow morning. And I would say Scott Mountain on Highway 3 could also be that area of concern. Now, looking at forecast snow totals, you have to go up pretty high in elevation, 5,000–6,000 feet before you start seeing that accumulating snow. So places like Chester, your borderline, Quincy, Portola, borderline as well. That's why I don't anticipate to see a lot of snow there, but you could see a light dusting of snow there. Meanwhile, again, you're not seeing much in the way of accumulation for any of the lower mountain communities because you have to go up pretty high in elevation to see that. But the ski park, yeah, they're looking good. You're going to be looking at that snow through most of this. Now, we take a look at the mid-range forecast model. This one's going to show that, yes, it's dry on Saturday, but through the day on Sunday, we're going to see the chances for showers begin to increase. There you can see this is approaching 8 a.m. on Sunday, still mostly dry Sunday morning. By midday on Sunday, we're beginning to see the showers begin to move back in, but you'll notice it's not very widespread. It'll be kind of those scattered showers. Now the long-range forecast model is just going to show that we've got one system after another moving in. Now, this model in particular, the GFS, the American forecast model, has a bit of a break on Tuesday. The European forecast model, no break. Still that rain on Tuesday, possibly. Then you can see a bit of an atmospheric river that we're seeing right here. This could have an impact on the weather by the middle of next week. A heavy rainfall at times, especially down to our south. And then Thursday, we're still seeing that kind of pushing on through, giving us some showers. Now, we're beginning to see less activity behind that as we go into Friday, Saturday. We may start to see this ridge of high pressure begin to build in. But I'm still keeping that chance for showers most likely through the end of next week, as kind of the Climate Prediction Center is kind of picking up on that with the wetter than normal conditions in the long range here. Now we look at the lake levels, they're looking pretty darn good. There you can see we're up at 87% capacity, Trinity Lake about 84, 86 out in Lake Oroville. Hey, by the way, another friendly reminder, yes, we're going to see some rain. We're going to see plenty of rainfall. We're talking flooding potential. But take a look across the nation. Once again, we've got fire weather watches in places like New Mexico. Up north there you can see there are some red flag warnings. Just another reminder that if you have a lot of property with a lot of brush or trees, you need to make sure that you're taking care of that defensible space before the fire season starts. So if you can't do it, be sure you have someone do it for you, because it's very important for the safety of you and your neighbors, all right? So take a look at the temperature trend here, our outlook that is. Near normal to our east, but look at this, still in the cooler than normal category. In fact, we take a look at that long range, the next 10 days for the Redding area, and you can clearly see we are below normal, most likely through the end of next week. You're starting to see some spike in the temperature. We may start to see a bit of a warming trend after that, but let's just get through the next 7 days or so. Now, we also still have that high surf advisory that expires tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Large breaking waves, dangerous situation along the coast. I mean, look at these wave heights. This is why we have that gale warning for your marine forecast here. Now, taking you into your Friday, all right, so here's Friday. See what's happening? It's gotten kind of retreating a little bit here. We may see some improvement, but looking at marine forecast, look at the winds. They're from the south at 25 to 35 knots. There is that gale warning I was talking about here for today. All right, let's get you to it. Your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. And your temperatures are going to be in the 40s for the most part. It's going to be noticeably cooler out there here for today. 55 in Fortuna, 55 in Garberville, and Shelter Cove about 51 degrees. Up north for the North Coast, there you can see 53 degrees for Orleans, 56 in Hoopa, 57 degrees in Willow Creek. And for Siskiyou County, we've got your temperatures in the 40s and even some 50s in there. There's the dry conditions we do expect on Saturday. More often on rain and snow. A bit of a mix here, even for Mount Shasta City. There's a look at Modoc County. Temperatures mainly in the low to mid 50s. I don't anticipate a lot of rain for you today. Most of the rain will be to the west and south of Modoc County. Speaking of that, of course, south of Modoc County is the eastern mountains, and we've got temperatures mainly in the 40s. Now, I think you'll see off and on showers here, but the bulk of that rain will be north and west of the valley, as I was mentioning. The valley, not a ton of rainfall today, but it will be partly to mostly cloudy today, with some scattered showers throughout the day. Most of that, I think, will be in the morning, slimmer chances this afternoon. Temperatures are still going to be mild, but we're not going to be in the 80s. We're not going to be in the 70s that we've seen over the last several days. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast for Chico, what we have here is temperatures staying in the 60s. But look at Sunday, and especially as we go into next week, upper 50s to low 60s for those daytime highs. All right, we take you up to the north, about 62 degrees for Redding, 62 for Palo Cedro, Anderson about 63, and a bit cooler up in Lakehead with a high of about 53 degrees. So there's your 7-day forecast for Redding, and looks like temperatures are staying in the low 60s. Now we do have that break on Saturday. And by the way, anything we do see either today or tomorrow is not going to be heavy. We're not going to see a lot of rainfall today or tomorrow, but there still will be those chances for showers both today and tomorrow for the valley. On Saturday, it's dry. We're cooler. Even cooler on Sunday through next week with temperatures upper 50s. Continue that off and on chance for rain. That's your morning update. I'll be back again at noon. Until then, have a great morning.
Caltrans is doing the best that they can with the amount of people and the amount of equipment they have, and they're out there trying to keep the roads safe and trying to keep everybody running, because if the roads shut down, truck drivers that are paid by the miles aren't making any money. So we want everybody to put chains on for the safety of themselves and the safety of the public. It's not worth it to drive without chains.